Okay, so welcome to our evening meditation class for the first one for the new year for us in the Northern Hemisphere. So happy New Year. And yeah, we had a great class this morning. They were the quietest they've been in a long time, actually. So they got a massively long meditation. So we'll see what happens tonight or this afternoon or morning for you. How are you feeling, Kyla? Your head's still hurting you, huh? You're muted, so we can't hear you.
Yes, it is, but it's only about 10% what it was, so I'm better.
That's good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Try not to laugh too
No,
loud in your ears.
no loud noises.
Okay.
No, I did the restorative class for stillness, and that was helpful. And then I just lay still for the afternoon.
Good.
Was actually in here.
Yeah. The liver yin class can be useful for headaches too, eh? The liver yin. Like, so I think we just did on Yoga with Melissa liver yin on Friday. But also I'm pretty sure there's some liver yin classes in the membership community too. Yeah. Can really help too. All right, so let's begin with our centering, and then I'll give a talk and you can introduce yourselves. So allow yourself to open to the energy of the earth. Feeling the depth and the quiet. Maybe the darkness and the stillness. And feel those qualities permeate your body and your being. Allowing them to animate your spine. Lengthening up through the back of your head, drawing your ears back over your shoulders. Opening up through the back of your neck. Making sure those elbows are directly underneath your shoulders, not pulling you too far back or too far forward. Letting there be space between your teeth so your tongue floats in your mouth. And just feel yourself drop into the open vastness of your body and your breath coming into your lower belly. And then notice how the phrases of our mantra are landing for you today. Remembering that I am intrinsically good without exception, and that I have been given this precious opportunity of my unique life, I find ways to engage in daily practice in my everyday life. And I open to the vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability of the earth. That vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability opens into my body and being. And remembering that my heart is open, tender, and responsive, I enter into my relationships as a part of my daily practice in my everyday life. And just taking a moment to open to each other and to our circle here. So welcome back, Eva. Two timer today. And I just want to acknowledge each and every one of you for taking the time to be here today, and for your own generosity both towards yourself, for setting aside this time for yourself, also for your generosity towards each other and your community here. It's a really beautiful, tender, compassionate act to be here for yourself and for each other. Okay, so I have a talk prepared for you this afternoon, and Eva gets to hear it twice, which is always good because, you know, whenever I listen to Reggie's talks twice, because Reggie's are recorded, and for those of you who aren't subscribed to his podcast, I highly, highly recommend it. Nikki, you're nodding. Do you happen to, is it called, what is the podcast called? Is it called Dharma Ocean, or it's just called Dharma Ocean Podcast? Or Maria, do you know, I know many of you are.
I think his is just the Dharma Ocean
Podcast, yeah. And they're short. I think most weeks they're just 15 or 20 minutes too. And they're quite nice to even, I'll put them on, you know, on days when I haven't, well, maybe that's the best example, but I'll actually put them on in when I hold a pose for 15 minutes, like a yin pose. So a child's pose or legs up the wall, for example, and just let that wash over me in that pose. And oftentimes I'll want to hear his talks more than once. And then when I go back to them, I'll think, wow, did I listen to that before? Because we're always different, you know, and we come to it different, and we're ready to hear things differently at different times. So, you know, we're talking about pause today, and we're taking time to pause before we move into our theme of reflecting for tomorrow. And, you know, this retreat is presented in some ways, and I'm seeing some reflections coming to the surface, which is nice too. So when we pause too, that's when the reflections will come as well. So as we come into this full-on propulsion into the New Year's, and I've even felt that settle a bit today compared to yesterday, the energy of yesterday, and all its promises of new beginnings. It really does have this tendency, it can drive us towards impulsiveness, towards doing. You know, the posts that I've seen on Instagram a lot today, and it hasn't really been too sticky for me, but I've just been shaking my head a little bit. But I think it says 2018, comma, page 1. And I think, okay. All right. You know, it's like, here we go. And it's that, you know, it says like, okay, here we go. And this better be good. And it better be better. You know, we better write a new book this year. So it's the habit to be pulled into our own reactive nature that can be so strong. And this is why it's so important for us to come together as a community and receive the teachings here. And this is why we have our training in stepping into that cocoon that is our body. And the resources, the cocoon that's the earth too, is very useful. And these practices again and again. So a couple of weeks ago during meditation class, we started to explore the pause as a respite, and also uncover the veil, look at the veil of this kind of New Year's story that we tell ourselves, that this is the time to start living our best life yet, to live life to the fullest. This is the time to lose weight, to spend less and save more, to spend more time with family and friends, to get organized, to learn more, to travel more, to read more, and to start new things. And, you know, if when you tune into your body and really open to its quiet wisdom in the pause, and there is a resounding quiet voice that is calling you to do one of those things, then absolutely yes. But if it's coming from that place of doing more because you're not enough and that kind of reactivity, then this is quite violent and not a practice of ahimsa. So we practice the pause to notice when we're getting pulled into that momentum of self-improvement, and one self-improvement project after another. And also when we turn on ourselves in that way of inflicting violence on ourselves with self-criticism, or the desire to do more because we feel like we haven't been doing enough, then we can tune into our bodies, because our bodies will tell us. There will be tension in our bodies. There will almost always be tension in our bodies telling us. And so we can tune into the tension of our bodies, wanting to do more, or tuning into that self-flagellation. We can always feel the ways that we start to turn against ourselves and the truth of our own experience. Because the tension comes forward in our body. And when we do that, the tension will begin to dissolve and melt and release, just like it does when we practice 10 points. And then there will be a softness behind the aggression. And most likely there will be something there, that is calling you. So the pause is really powerful, because it allows us to connect with the softness and the openness of our true nature. It lets us let go of our ego agendas, the ones that hook us from the outside. And so we have the opportunity to pause and release the tension, or we can continue to defend. We can continue to drop into the suffering and the tension, and then the anxiety continues. And it is a continuum. It's not like either or, but you can feel when you're getting pulled one way or the other, right? And there will be events of the day that will kind of draw you, and you can feel that. Pausing is not about being perfect. It's just noticing about when that tension is arising from our embodied experience, and opening to that tension, whether it be the pain of ambition, or the pain of aggression, the pain of grieving, the pain of loss, the pain of irritation, resentment, jealousy, indignation, anger, guilt, embarrassment, or failure, stress. It's the whole gamut. These things are part of being human, and they will come forward in our experience. And when they do, we can open to those feelings with compassion, with tenderness, and with kindness to our experience. trying to decide whether to tell you a story right now or not. You know, okay, I'm going to tell you a story because I'm going to relate to my own experience. Over the last few days, I have felt myself really pulled towards jealousy and resentment. And, you know, these are really uncomfortable feelings to be feeling, right? It feels awful. It's like, I don't want to be feeling these feelings. But watching other people's success, it's like they're very much coming alive. But in attending to them and noticing them and really being present with them for myself, not in pushing them away and saying that I shouldn't be having them, because they are absolutely true and present for myself. Then there was and I'm not saying that that the process is perfect and finished and done at all. I'm not. But there was a bit of space around it that allowed me to open to, you know, what was true for me, what my desires were in my life, and also, you know, recognizing my own strengths, you know, recognizing what was really rubbing me and where my own strength and goodness was in that whole situation. And through it, there was a realization that, you know, each one of us is so unique, and it's okay. You know, each person's expression of success is going to be unique. And I'm pretty damn happy with the way mine's unfolding. Like it's really okay. And because I took that time to let myself have those feelings, I think there's a lot more space around it, and there's starting to be some opening to what is true for me and the strengths that are available for me, I think. And so I think this is really what I want to bring forward also in the next point, is that what is really important is that it's always about tuning into and feeling what's true for us now. So for me, it was really about attending to the resentment, the jealousy, that kind of irritation, maybe even a little bit of anger. You know, often they don't sort of sit in one category. They kind of all overlap. and attending to all of it. And this is what the pause requires. And if we tune in, then we are able to see what is being asked of us. You know, some of us are very much being asked to take action right now. And if when we tune in, our body is showing us tension, like for me, over the last few days, there was a lot of tension. And if there's tension, there needs to be attention to the tension first, right? Because we can't move forward with any clarity with that kind of tension. It's really difficult. So when we tune into our body, if it's showing tension, then this is something that shows us that we're out of alignment with our own process. We're out of alignment with the messages of our body. And then we can pause and tune in and see what's up for us. But really, just like the moon ebbs and flows, we were talking about this morning, you know, there'll be times of growth in our life, and there will be times when we're called to slow down and retreat. And there will be times when we're called inward. And then there will also be times in our lives where things are very steady without any seeming change. And as I said this morning too, I think these times can be kind of uncomfortable for us, where it feels like nothing's happening, and it can make us feel kind of nervous almost. And the thing is, as you know, as we say with our mantra each day, each of us has a unique life and a unique experience and a unique expression of that life. And so for each one of us, it's going to be different. And this is the beauty of community. This is the beauty of us coming together over these next 5 days, is that we get to hear how unique each one of us are experiencing our own unique expression of our lives. We can observe this happening among each other here. Any of us who are reading the comments can hear how uniquely each one of us are experiencing our lives right now. And one thing that really stands out to me right now from listening to each one of you in our circles right now, and also reading all of your comments, is that we are all in a very unique expression of our lives and where we are in cycles of growth, in cycles of pulling back, and in cycles of stasis. So I did actually name people because I know you're all reading each other's comments and also listening to each other. Because because today is about taking a pause, many of you aren't in the cycle of pause right now. And I wanted to kind of clarify that. You know, Michelle and Paige and Nikki are being called into a cycle of growth and change in their lives right now. And so that is where they're being called. Bene, for those of you reading her comments and have been with her, she's been in a very big cycle of transition, literally in her life this past year. But you can see from her comments on the forum that she's being asked to come into a more inward experience right now in her life. And then Maria's, her post, your post this morning, it was really beautiful. You could see that you're being asked to let go of busyness and slow down. So there's that cycle for you. And I feel like in my own experience, I am actually being asked to pause and to be content with this steadiness and consistency right now. And actually to be very comfortable with growth that's happening around me. So I find that really interesting, and to just get comfortable with that. And I'm actually kind of excited about that, to feel some happiness and joy for that. And that's a honestly new experience for me. It feels really good. So this all to say that your body will always be your best guide. You know, it will allow you to open to what you're ready to receive. And your body will always show you what the perfect timing is. And this is why we practice 10 points reclined somatic meditation. You know, we go into our big toes, we release tension through our body. Gradually over time, we release more and more layers of tension. And through that, we're able to sense on a more and more refined level our somatic, inward felt experience. And we can feel and sense into what our body's telling us on deeper and deeper levels. And also to be able to have greater and greater clarity through that. And I know a lot of you have experienced that. And just as always, it's not about perfection. It's not about getting it right. And we'll catch ourselves a million times a day because we live in this culture where we're being seduced all the time, right? To sign up for the perfect beach body. And, we'll notice ourselves, and, the seduction is there. We'll notice ourselves signing up for the motherload of all self-improvement projects. And we can just lighten up and have a sense of humor about it and laugh at ourselves and just laugh at how strong that pull is, and just notice how funny it is. There I go again. And just pause and see what that pull is, because that's the time to attend to yourself and see what's grabbing you, what's pulling you towards that need to fix or change something that doesn't need to be fixed or changed. So I have a poem for you. I really love this poem. It's called Invitation by Mary Oliver. And she says, "Oh, do you have time to linger for just a little while out of your busy and very important day for the goldfinches that have gathered in a field of thistles for a musical battle to see who can sing the highest note or the lowest or the most expressive of mirth or the most tender? Their strong, blunt beaks drink the air as they strive melodiously, not for your sake and not for mine, and not for the sake of winning, but for the sheer delight and gratitude. Believe us, they say, it is a generous thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in the broken world. I beg of you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could mean what Rilke meant when he wrote, "You must change your life." So I've unmuted you. So you can introduce yourself and where you're connecting from. And if you have any response or comments about that, we can take those now too.
Kyla, North Carolina. I think I'm going to remain inarticulate for a while.
What's that?
I said, I think I'm going to remain inarticulate for a while.
Yeah, okay.
One was very moving.
Yeah.
I'm Nikki. I'm in Tennessee, in Maryville, and it's cold here. The ridiculous performance. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I think that I have been the actor in the ridiculous performance. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's an interesting takeaway, Nikki.
I think about, kind of how much I have tried to control stuff over the past and how comical, now I sit back and think other people watching must have really enjoyed watching the ridiculous performance. No, I've had a very good pause today. I had a huge to-do list. I was off today. My incense is starting to burn my eyes. But going to get my kitchen clean from top to bottom. And I got the dishes finally completely in the dishwasher, and the dishwasher started. A couple of loads of laundry done, but they're waiting to be folded on the couch. And I have been on my mat almost all day, really just taking a time out for myself. And it feels good to be here. And I've enjoyed the pause, even if it's just for now. Thank you.
So I'm Eva from Ontario, Canada, and I'm here for the second time today. It's a break from trying to clean my house like Nikki. Move right into it and trying to get it all done at once. It's a second break for me today, so maybe I'll get some of this through my thick skull too. So. Need lots to get it through.
That's such a good project to hang on to, isn't it? The I need to clean my house project.
endless.
Because it never goes away.
No matter how much you try, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And you have to redo it over and over and over.
Right.
It's a ridiculous cycle. So it's always a pause to go on your mat. It's fine. It's good. You need that. I'm Maria I'm from Harrison, New Jersey. I've taken all day to pause on my mat, so it's a good day.
I'm Michelle from Tea Gardens, and today has been about pausing so far. I was just thinking about that housework thing. I remember reading a blog somewhere, and this lady was saying that she got an email from someone saying about how they hated housework, and she said, well, you have to accept that, it's never going to end. It's continually, you will always have housework, so stop trying to get it all done now, because it's continuous. So yeah, that just reminded me of that. Yeah, it was there was a lot to take in with the talk today, Melissa, and one of the things that stood out for me was attending these emotions, these sort of uglier emotions about jealousy, resentment. They come up, and they have come up for me, and I like you, I've had that spaciousness around it, and that feels good to be that open to everything. And it does put you in a different place where you can have that sympathetic joy, that genuine joy for other people.
Yeah, it has been my practice, like literally my practice, to sit and attend to these emotions over the last, like it was literally my practice the other morning. And even while I was doing it, it felt like nothing was happening, because the emotions are so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I had that too, and I felt like, well, I just want to push this away because it's so ugly. It's so ugly to feel these things. But I sat with them, and I was able to be with them.
Yeah, so I don't, I don't have an official practice for it, but I just was kind of present with the sensation, the ugliness of it, and faced it head on for about an hour and a half. And then I went on with my day. And I felt like I hadn't practiced that day, but something shifted.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It could be interesting to I don't know.
It's certainly a new way to come at jealousy and those sorts of emotions. To come at them with that somatic openness, and yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I think the tendency is to push them aside because it's too unbearable to see ourselves in that light.
Yeah. Especially when you start throwing labels at it like, oh, I'm a yogi, I meditate, yes. Like, I'm spiritual.
Exactly. Yeah. So I shouldn't be feeling this way.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, we do know as much as we do know from our knowledge of shadow work, right? It takes so much effort to hold that beach ball under the water, right? That beach ball of anger, resentment, jealousy, you know, it's like so much more effort to hide that from, you know, your own psyche, and you think you're hiding it from everybody else, but you really aren't. So it's actually as difficult as it is, it's actually much easier to bring it to the light of day, admit it to yourself. And like, I don't know, I kind of suspect none of you are all going to go running for the hills now that I've admitted to all of you that I'm experience feelings of jealousy and anger. You know, I'm a human being too.
Yeah, you're human. Everybody's human. That's part of life, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to admit it for ourselves. I mean, whenever I get angry and resentment, and I don't feel like that's not very yogic behavior. That's not, you know, I'm doing all this stuff to be, you know, a better person.
Exactly. So I shouldn't be feeling that way.
No. No.
But if we turn towards ourselves with tenderness and felt with such compassion how much pain we're in for feeling these things in the first place, wow, what a difference to turn towards our own suffering. Like, it's easy to look back on that experience now, somewhat, that I've passed through it. But man, there was a lot of suffering in that.
Yeah, this is reminding me of probably about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, when I had a lot of anger and grief. And I came upon Thich Nhat Hanh's talk, I think it was, about anger and about how to attend the anger. You attend it like a mother would a baby. Yeah. I mean, talk about being open and tender and responsive. You can be that way with your anger too.
Mm-hmm. And not necessarily the way your mother attended to your anger, which was probably shelve it, put it away, don't behave that way.
Yeah, hide it under a bushel.
Yeah, nice girls aren't jealous.
No.
That's right.
Right.
Mm-mm.
It's the kind of mother that Thich Nhat Hanh had. Or that we imagine Thich Nhat Hanh had. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the softness and the tenderness and the kindness that we can bring to ourselves through whatever mind state. You know, when Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche says every mind state is workable, you know, this is what he's talking about. And when you're tired and you're trying to meditate and it's not working, the tenderest mother would not say, for God's sakes, just wake up and meditate. What would she do? She'd probably tuck you into bed. So these are very important parts of the teachings. Mm-hmm. Shall we meditate? Okay, so let's come to the earth, lie down on our backs. I think we're going to do a different meditation than this morning because we've gone a different way than we did this morning. So begin by feeling the support of the earth underneath you. And feel the stability of your feet on the floor, your pelvis, your elbows, your hands on your lower belly, your rib cage on the ground, your shoulders, your head. Just breathing in through all the pores of your body. Noticing where in your body you feel any tension, and as you breathe out, let that tension release and relax down into the earth. And each time you breathe out, you can dissolve tension down and into the earth and just start to notice the support of the earth underneath you. Feel how welcoming the earth is. Let your body melt and dissolve into the earth. So we feel ourselves melting into the earth the way we would melt into the most loving mother in the world, as if we were lying in our mother's lap. And we are being filled up with her love. This love is pure and tender and warm and open. And it may even be the nourishment, the tenderness, the compassion that we never had. But this is the mother that is the earth, that is always present, that is always waiting for us, and that will always be. So you can feel yourself resting on the earth, lying in your mother's lap, and luxuriating in the feeling of this loving attention, and letting yourself totally surrender into this feeling. Knowing that it's not imagination, that this feeling of support and tenderness and nourishment is real. And you can feel the energy, you can feel the tenderness, you can feel the compassion and the love and the life force energy and prana of the earth underneath you. And you can notice how safe your body feels here with this process, that there's a kind of unwinding and releasing and relaxation that's happening in your body as you allow your body to release down into the earth underneath you, letting your body be a sponge and absorbing this healing and loving energy. So ever so slowly and gently, you're going to open your attention into your whole lower leg, your knees, your ankles, and your feet. Feeling the tension from your lower legs through your ankles and your feet, draining down from your knees, through your calves, through your shin bones, your ankles, and into the earth. So this tension completely relaxes and lets go as you breathe out. The whole lower leg and feet are melting and dissolving. All of that tension is flowing downward into the earth. And if you feel other parts of your body letting go, releasing tension, just follow that tension as it releases down into the earth. And then come to your buttocks and feel the connection with the earth, between your buttocks and the earth. Feeling any tension there, allowing that tension to melt and release. Opening to the tension in the pelvic girdle, the bones of the pelvis, your hip bones, the sockets, feeling the tension and letting the tension go, letting it flow down into the earth. And then feeling into your inner thigh, your upper legs, the upper thigh muscles, the backs of the legs, the outer thighs. So tension's flowing down through your thighs into the pelvis, through the buttocks, through the earth. And then feel your mid back on the earth, the base of your ribs where they connect with the earth, extending up through your chest, feel where the ribs connect with your breastbone. Feeling the tension in these bones and then the fascial connections around them. Letting it all relax and release and dissolve downwards. Feel your shoulder blades on the ground. Feel the tension through the shoulder blades. And then up in through the upper body, up through the collarbones, the shoulders, shoulder joints, the back of the neck. Let all of this tension melt and dissolve downwards. And then feeling your elbows heavy on the ground. Opening to the tension in your hands. Through your fingers, the joints of your fingers, the backs of your hands, the fronts of your hands, your wrists, your forearms. All that tension just flows down through your forearms, through your elbows, and into the earth. And then feel your shoulders. Feel the tension in your shoulders. Let that tension dissolve down through your upper arms, through your elbows, and into the earth. And then opening your awareness to your head. Feeling the tightness through your face, temples, your scalp. Feeling tightness in the brain, the musculature, the bones. Entering into the tension with your awareness and allowing it to dissolve. And then taking all 10 points, your 2 feet, your 2 buttocks, your mid-back, your 2 shoulder blades, your 2 elbows, and your head. And on your in-breath, feeling any tension in your body. And on your out-breath, letting it go. So breathing in, being present throughout your body. Feeling the tension and the density and the tightness. And on the breath out, letting tension go. So breathing in through all the pores of your body. Feeling the body, feeling its tension. And as you breathe out, let that tension dissolve down and into the earth. So on the in-breath, you're feeling tension in the body, and then as you breathe out, follow the tension as it lets go, follow your breath as it lets go, and follow it down into the earth underneath you. So you breathe in, you feel the tension. As you breathe out, you follow the tension, you follow the breath, you follow gravity down into the earth underneath you. Remember, this practice is not about doing, it's about surrendering, allowing, and letting go. So as you release tension, your body opens. And just like you can feel your body from the inside, you can sense the space of the earth underneath you. So the back of your body begins to open, and you feel your awareness going down with the tension into the earth. So each time you breathe out and let go, you release a little bit further, your body relaxes a little bit more. There's a sense that your embodied sensation opens a little bit more into the earth. The deeper you go, the more your body relaxes and opens, and the sense of your embodied experience opens a little bit deeper and more into the earth. So each time you breathe out, you let the tension lead you down, and you leave your awareness in the earth underneath you, allowing yourself to drop and open. Breathing in, breathing out, dropping and opening. So each time you breathe out, you drop and open. So your awareness keeps opening and extending underneath you. It's still your body. It's still your somatic field that's opening. There's just a sense that the space of your body is opening to the earth underneath you. It's as if you're in your body, and then you open your awareness and let your awareness go down and down and down and open and open and open. And the more you let go, the more you relax, the more you surrender, what you discover is that your awareness is already very deep in the earth itself. You descend down and down, you open more and more, and you get deeper and deeper into the earth. And you might start to sense a feeling of relief as you do this. We talked before about how controlling our lives and trying to follow those kind of external demands creates so much tension in our body. It's so much work. And as we release that tension down into the earth, we're letting all of that work go. We're letting all of that controlling go that creates so much tension in our body. And our body is opening to something much bigger, much more spacious, much more open. And although it might feel like you feel a little bit lost in this vast, spacious openness, there's also a sense of feeling at home, at ease. You feel a sense of maybe it feels soft, velvety, welcoming. You may even feel in your heart a sense of yearning to connect with this space. So you're way, way down in the earth now, and it's also very normal to find yourself bouncing back up to the surface, and that's completely fine. Just breathe out and let go again. On your in-breath, you feel where you are, and on your out-breath, you let yourself go and descend further. So your embodied awareness can expand downward, it can open and widen and deepen. Your awareness gets wider and deeper, and it's not that you're leaving your body on the surface behind. You're simply opening your embodied awareness to deeper and deeper levels. So you've dissolved the boundary on the backside of your body, and you're now beginning to experience the full measure and depth of your embodied experience and the earth experience as well. So that the boundaries become really blurred. So keep opening and descending. Your awareness drops and open, and you keep dropping further and further into the earth. And as you descend and open, you can notice where there may be a boundary that you run into. You can sense where you're holding back. And just feel that, let go, fall further, fall through it. You may even begin to think about things or have visual images of rocks or geology that you learned about in school, and you can just let those go and keep opening down and down. Keep feeling the felt sense of what it feels like in the earth. So it's not that you're falling through this geographical planet. You're opening through space. You're sinking deeper and deeper. You might feel a sense of longing for this depth. You might notice that the space feels warm. Maybe it feels protective. Maybe it feels safe. Maybe you feel held in this space. Maybe you feel a sense of well-being. Maybe it feels healing. And anytime you feel tension in your body or retraction or pulling up, just relax and let go again. Opening your back body more and more fully so that the warmth and healing and nurturing energy of the earth can open up to your back body more fully. So imagine that you're actually opening your back body, opening the skin, opening the muscles, opening the deep tissues, opening your organs, opening your heart, even your bones. Opening any parts of your body that need healing. Any parts of your, not just your physical body, but your emotional body, your energetic body, your mental body. any parts of your body that need healing and open it to this warmth, this nurturing, this love, this healing energy so that it can flood your body. Let this energy from the depths of the earth flood you to deeper and deeper levels, right down to the cellular level. So especially make sure you include the parts of your body that are hurting, the parts of your psyche, the parts of your emotions, and let that healing balm of the earth bathe you and soothe you and heal you. And even open this healing and nurturing and loving energy to the parts of your body, to the parts of your life that are too painful for you to even turn towards and look at. To all those problems in your life that you can't even bear to face. So it's not you that has to solve them. You don't have to do anything about them. Just let this healing, loving energy, this prana from the earth, flood those parts of your life that you can't even bear to look at right now. And then just take a few moments to enjoy the spaciousness, enjoy the openness, enjoy the relaxation. And when you feel ready, you can come back up to our circle. That's a big smile, Eva.
I'm trying to do meditation. She comes over, she starts licking my nose, lays across my face. Puppies.
Were you warm enough, Maria?
Yes, I had like a dozen blankets all over me.
That's good.
I put like a nice fleece blanket underneath so I don't feel that coldness coming up through the floor.
That's good.
That seemed to help. That was luxurious. That was a great practice.
Good. Any questions or comments about that practice?
I found it very energizing. Just felt the energy right through the whole body. It's very cleansing.
One thing my teacher Neil's been talking a lot about with earth descent recently is that even though, because a lot of people talk about the difficulty of descending with earth descent, but even though that may be a difficulty, that the earth's energy comes up to meet us.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I've been finding it interesting listening to him talk about that a lot recently.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. The energy coming up to meet me all along my back body. It was pretty deep.
I don't know if it's because of the other yin practices now, but like, especially in my face, I just felt like the energy just melting from my face so much more deeply than I had before. And releasing it down into the earth. That was pretty amazing.
I wonder too if just because the practice is cumulative too.
Yeah, maybe.
And then also when you go through these periods of time where your practice is intensive, so you've just come through 2 days, I think, of doing a lot of practice too. Yeah.
Well, when I practiced the yin class today too, I felt a lot of release happening. I guess because of all the, yeah.
Yeah, I think we become more attuned to the energy channels. And, one thing that I noticed yesterday when I was teaching too is that we become attuned to when I noticed, I forget what pose it was in, but so, when we come out and we feel the rebound, or when we're in a pose and you can kind of sense the energy moving through the meridian. What I noticed very clearly yesterday too was when there was no energy moving through that meridian. Like it was a deadness along it. So I thought well, that's actually very astute awareness as well, right? So I was thinking that this was an interesting insight for me as a teacher, because sometimes there's awareness of energy moving along the channel. Yesterday, there was this awareness of energy not moving along the channel. So both can be happening. But then it's making me think that you know, you may have students, I haven't had students say it to me so much, but there may be times when they think that nothing's happening. But the nothing's happening could be energy blockage along that channel, right? It was a thought. Because it was so clear that that channel was just completely blocked yesterday. Whatever it was, I should have paid more attention to which one it was. Because yesterday's yin class was, we moved through a lot of channels. It was kind of a full body yin.
Yeah. When I was sick for the last couple of days, last week, I didn't do any yoga at all. And when I came back to my mat and I did the yin class, I definitely noticed such a surge of energy flowing through the meridian. It was like a release of energy, more than usual. I mean, more on one side than the other. It's kind of weird, but it's just a really big release.
I experienced that warmth in the face and the back of my head as well. It was one of my first observations, and I do often have trouble feeling like I'm descending into earth descent practices. And before you even started to instruct us to start descending, I noticed that I was, and I thought I tried not to even think anything. I was just noticed it. I didn't want to say yes. Here I go.
Here we go.
Exactly.
The rocket ship to the.
No pressure, because this may never happen again, right? But I did. That was the first thing I wanted to do. Okay, yes, okay. But,
Here we go.
here we go. But, I let go of my attachment there. And I do have visions quite often in any kind of meditation practice. And I'm almost afraid that you all will think I'm completely wacky for bringing this one up. I was the earth. And then from my third eye, a river stream started washing over me. But it wasn't cold. I hate cold river water. This was all nice and warm, and it was very, very soothing and comforting. And it was nice. And part of me doesn't want to say that out loud, but that was my experience. So I enjoyed that. That was a good practice. Thank you.
I think that this is, you know, part of my appreciation for each one of our own unique experiences. Recently, I've been noticing how each one of us experiences things differently. You know, some of us are very visual in our experience, you know. So that's a very visual experience of earth descent, right? And I think I experience things very in a very tactile, somatic feeling way. And one of the things I've noticed is that I think Reggie must experience things in a very visual way as well. Because have you ever noticed his instructions? He always says, see. Yeah. He uses the word see things. So it's just something I've noticed, that you can kind of tell how people experience things by the way they, well, especially if they're teachers, by the way they instruct, right? So if they give visual cues or if they give somatic cues, or, you know, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that about the way he talks, Michelle?
Yeah. And now I think about some of the other teachers that I've practiced their teaching, you know, their style of teaching is feel. Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it actually affects how I experience meditation. You know, if I hear that cue of see versus feel, if that changes how I experience meditation. I've never really thought about it.
I don't know if it changes your experience. I think it just shows the unique way
Yeah.
we experience. I don't know if it changes it. It's just interesting. So I find that interesting because Reggie teaches somatic meditation, and yet his cues are so visual. I guess that's why I find it interesting. Any other questions or comments about where you are on the retreat so far? So I will just comment that you're heading into the middle of the retreat tomorrow and the next day. So we spoke a little bit about that this morning as well. So if many of you have done retreats before, although some of you haven't done retreats with me before yet either, I think. So there's an arc to every retreat. And so Nicole and Maria and Michelle will know this, that when you come to the middle of the retreat, it's not unusual for uncomfortable emotions and things to come up and to feel like, why am I doing this? And why am I putting myself through this? And this is horrible. And why is Melissa doing this to us? And that's just the normal part of the retreat arc. And it's all for the greater good.
It really is.
Yeah. And at that point, it's very normal to want to step out of the retreat.
Yeah.
And yet that is not a good thing to do at that point, because should you step, and it's a very easy thing to do in an online community. You can step out and nobody can say, hey, where'd you go, right? It's harder to track you down. But should you do that, then you step out with all of your triggering, all of your agitation, everything all aggravated, and you don't get the benefit of seeing it through towards resolution, which is built into the arc of the retreat as well. So just to say that things may or may not come up, but more likely will. And it's a normal part of the experience. And we noticed, you saw in the comments today that they did. You saw that stomach meridian brought up the discomfort with anxiety and worry. And you'll probably see it tomorrow as we look back. We're looking back at disappointments over the last year, which is uncomfortable, can be uncomfortable. We'll be looking back at grief. We'll be working with the heart meridian, I believe. It's grief and sadness. And it can be uncomfortable. So just so you know what you're heading into, and it's normal. And we've got each other. So, and to see it through, and it is worth it. And it's built that way. As I said to this morning, Ziva knows that I used to get worried when people would start to get triggered and aggravated and upset in the middle of a retreat. And now when it's not happening, I get worried. I'm like, well, what's happening? What's wrong with my retreat? So it's normal. It will happen. And the thing that I find interesting is that I tend to go through the arc of the retreat prior to the retreat. So I've been through it over the last 2 weeks. I felt that mystery, that pause, I hate myself. These emotions are awful. And I'm starting to feel the coming through of really seeing the beauty in the last year for me, and some of the where the contentedness came from, and starting to get a hint at some of the aspirations I have for myself for this coming year. So it works. It works. So stay the course. See it through. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you for what you can join us for in the coming days. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.